Hi guys, so there's a bit of a diplomatic spat taking place between the EU and the UK at the moment over the vaccines. Now, let's take a step back before we actually get into the details of this particular spat. Back when the vaccine was being developed, some of the money for it was actually from the European Union. The European Union invested in development of new vaccines, and the AstraZeneca one was no exception. When it came to producing the vaccines, both the EU and the UK placed orders. So it was developed and they placed their orders. Now, obviously, the EU placed a much larger order than the UK did. And because the EU is such a large bloc, it was able to negotiate a much lower price than the one that the UK was paying. Now, AstraZeneca agreed to produce a certain number of vaccines within reason. They said, look, this is something new. We're going to agree to try and respect the order that the EU put in. But it later became apparent that it was not possible to produce enough vaccines to respect the order that the EU had placed with AstraZeneca. The EU later on tried to source vaccines elsewhere, but it seems to be the case that, and it's not fully backed with evidence, but it seems to be the case that AstraZeneca decided to supply vaccines according to price, not to actual demand. So they decided, it seems, to deliver more vaccines to the UK than to the EU in respect to the percentage of the request. That means that they made an economic decision over a healthcare decision. Remember, the UK was paying a lot more for the vaccines than the European Union. Now, this seems to be the background of the problem. Let's jump forward to the 9th of March, where we see this statement from the European Council President, Charles Michel. Now, he talks about in his statement about the rollout of the vaccine, the positives, the negatives, how it went well, how it had some difficulties. And we remember that the European Union is under a lot of criticism for the rollout of the vaccine at the moment. But I want to read the problem at the moment that is that's creating this particular spat. It says here under section 4, it says Europe is an exporter. He goes on to say, I'm also shocked when I hear the accusations of vaccine nationalism against the EU. Vaccine nationalism is the idea that individual countries will block the export of the vaccine or the development of the vaccine, this information to other countries to protect their country first. Here again, the facts do not lie. The United Kingdom and the United States have imposed an outright ban on the export of vaccines or vaccine components produced on their territory. Now, this is the phrase that created this latest spat, that the UK has imposed an outright ban. Now, before we hear Boris Johnson's response to this, I think the problem here is pretty much the sloppy use of language. Now, I don't know if Charles Michel wrote this statement himself in English, or he wrote it in French perhaps, and then it was translated into English. But the word here, or the statement here, outright ban, is actually false. The UK has not imposed a ban, it seems. And Boris Johnson is going to confirm that. But what is probably happening is that the UK government is perhaps putting political or economic pressure on AstraZeneca to continue the rollout of the vaccine to the UK, because it paid more, at the expense of the European Union. So let's hear how Boris Johnson responded to that on Wednesday.
I therefore wish to correct the suggestion from the European Council President that the UK has blocked vaccine exports. Let me be clear, we have not blocked the export of a single COVID-19 vaccine or vaccine components.
So, technically he's right. The UK has not has not brought in legislation to ban the export of the vaccine or its components. I think this is an issue of language, but what is interesting is Mr. Charles Michel responded to this on Twitter, and he said something quite interesting. He said, "Glad if the UK reaction leads to more transparency and increased exports to EU and third countries. Different ways of imposing bans or restrictions on vaccines and medicines. EU is providing vaccines for its citizens and rest of the world. No one is safe until everyone is safe." Okay, so there are two things I want to highlight here. The first word is transparency. What is he talking about? Does he know something that the rest of us don't know? Is there pressure being put on, for example, AstraZeneca to produce more vaccines for the UK, or shift more towards the UK at the expense of the EU? Does Charles Michel know about this, and he doesn't want to talk about it? So the word transparency, we need to see what's going on behind the scenes. And, from the outside, it seems AstraZeneca is just respecting the orders that were put in. For the UK side, less for the EU side. But that's because they have problems with the production. He also says different ways of imposing bans or restrictions. Different ways. I think what he's implying here is that you're not using legislation, but you're using some other means. Because there is no legislation, from what I can see, on the UK side to ban the export of vaccines. Boris Johnson has been clear about that. There is no ban. Let's hear him just once again.
A single COVID-19 vaccine.
So there is no ban on, we've not blocked the export of any. So he's not blocking the export. But it could be the case that he is putting pressure, his government is putting pressure, economic or political pressure, on AstraZeneca to put the UK first. And that is not the way we should be acting. Now, what's interesting as well is how the vaccine is being rolled out. And, we're hearing a lot of positive news from the UK. The UK is way ahead in the rollout of the vaccine. It's not exactly true, because if you look at this is from Euronews, and it's using Oxford University data. It says on the 8th of March, the UK had given first jabs to 33% of the population, compared to 6.5% across the EU. So if we're comparing the EU as a bloc to the UK when it comes to first jabs, the UK is way, way, way ahead. But according to Oxford, and this information is coming from Oxford University project, Our World in Data. However, the EU leads in terms of second doses given, with 3% of the population inoculated compared to 1.7% of the UK. So when we look at the number of people given the complete inoculation, the UK is somewhat behind. Now, if this is a case of the UK government putting pressure on AstraZeneca, it could be because they want to roll out the first dose as quickly as possible, get as many people inoculated at the beginning, and deal with the second dose later on. I think this is concerning, because we should be all working together as a world, because as Mr. Michel said, no one is safe until everyone is safe. I'm not taking his side here, but it is correct. It's not just, there is no race here. There are no winners or there are no losers. Well, actually there are losers, because if we don't work together, we all lose. Because we need to get rid of this pandemic. We need to control it as much as possible. The vaccine is one of the best ways to deal with it. But if there are new variants popping up all over the world, we have to work together as a world to deal with it. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?